gang, Miss Baskin here, and welcome back. Okay, so here's the skinny. There are times in life when we're going to want to stand out, but other times we need to blend in. Knowing how to blend in depends on two important factors: where you're at and who you're with. See this blue circle? This represents what we call the zone. In order to blend in, we want to figure out how to be in the zone. This means picking up on what's expected in the place you're at with the people you're with. Okay, so what does expected really mean anyways? Well, basically that means doing what people want. And when we do what people want, we will create good, happy, comfortable thoughts in the people around us. Because guess what? Once you say it, once you do it, people are free to judge it. That means they get to have thoughts and feelings about you. The goal is to keep people having comfortable thoughts about you. When your behavior matches the behavior of those around you, that creates comfortable thoughts and feelings. Let's imagine an example of expected behavior in a zone together. I want you to close your eyes and picture a place where you're supposed to whisper or stay quiet. Are you thinking of a place? Maybe it's in your classroom during a test or reading time. This place is a zone where some behaviors are allowed and others are not. Get a good picture of this place in your mind. Who else is there? What are they doing? These are expected behaviors because people have agreed to behave in this way in that zone. The place you're imagining is probably not a zone where a game of tag with your friends would be allowed. Running and chasing don't match the behavior of the people in that zone. So playing tag would be an unexpected behavior that upsets the people who are enjoying the quiet. You and your friends would probably get in trouble because you broke the rules about how to behave in that zone. Now picture a playground full of kids laughing and playing. That game of tag would be an expected behavior in this zone because it matches the behavior of everyone else. Even though you're running, shouting, and laughing, you will blend in with the other people enjoying that zone. Because everyone agrees that the playground is a zone where we expect games and noise, no one will get upset if you and your friends play a game of tag there. The goal is to follow the expected behavior rules in these zones so as many people as possible can enjoy them at the same time. Don't worry if you don't know the expected behavior rules yet. You can simply look at what others are doing and saying. Go ahead and open your eyes so we can talk a little more about the zones. Now, see these different colored dots in the middle of the zone? These normal-sized dots represent the people in the zone. We are different colors because we're all unique, special individuals. But we're all the same size because we're blending in doing what's expected in that particular zone. When our dots are inside the circle, we are blending in with the other people in that zone, doing what's expected and keeping others feeling good about us. Likewise, if we pop out of the zone, we are now doing what's unexpected for that situation. So if expected is what people want, then unexpected is what people don't want. That's right. And those behaviors in turn create irritated, upset, and uncomfortable thoughts in those around us. Remember, the zone shifts depending on where you're at and who you're with. Like what's expected in the bathroom zone is very different than what's expected in the recess zone. In the bathroom, you keep to yourself, get to your business, and jam. But at recess, you may be louder, running around interacting with your friends and classmates. Also, the zone changes depending on who you're with. So if you were to go to dinner at the same exact restaurant with your friends this week, but then again with your grandma next week, the zone would shift simply because of the who you're with changes. Just because you go to the same restaurant and the where stays the same doesn't necessarily mean the social rules stay the same. See, because let's think about it for a second. What's expected would be totally different with grandma than it would be with your buddies. Am I right? You might goof around a little more with your buddies and talk about boys or sports or your annoying teacher. But with grandma, you'd want to have really good manners and you'd probably be talking about all the great stuff you're learning about in school these days. See how the zone changes simply because the who changed? All right, so why is it important to learn how to blend in with others in a group anyways? See, when we learn to get in the zone in a given situation, we help to keep everyone safe and make sure things go smooth. In the coming weeks, you'll learn to become profesh zone detectives. Detectives that will be able to use your own built-in detective tools of your eyes, ears, and brain in order to make smart choices about what to say and do in any given situation. The tricky part is that we are constantly moving into different zones all day long, am I right? Such as different classrooms, hallways, lunchroom, recess, bathroom, library, each having their own set of what's expected. Our lives become so much easier when we can pick up on the different zones and what's expected in them. And FYI, there are going to be times when we just don't love what's expected in a particular zone. We're going to want to be like, nope, not happening, don't want to, like having to clean up our mess in the cafeteria, or working on a writing assignment, or doing our homework. Blah, like who invented homework anyways? But the fact remains that in most cases, like it or not, you're not in charge, and therefore you do not get to change the zone rules when you don't like them. Trying to be in charge of the zone can cause you a lot of extra problems you don't want to have. Trust me on that one. Ultimately, the person in charge of the zone, be it your teacher, your parent, coach, or principal, is the one that gets to decide the zone rules, not you. Luckily, there are times that you can be in charge of your own zone, like when you're chilling in your bedroom or when you and your friends are hanging out. I mean, you still have to follow the bigger zone rules of life, but you have more control over what's expected. Also, it's important to mention that being in the zone blending in with others doesn't mean you have to go around being a follower either. Doing what others want you to do, even when you know in your heart that it's wrong, is not actually being in the zone. Remember, just because everyone is doing the wrong thing doesn't make it right. Never let what's expected in a zone stop you from speaking out about things that are wrong or unsafe. Like when people in a zone are mistreating someone, breaking the rules, or worse yet, breaking the law. We need everyone out there doing their best to keep things cool, and that includes you too. And finally, even though most of the time we will be working to blend in, doing what's expected, there will be times in life when we need people thinking outside the zone, having the courage to be the change when the zone calls for it. Meaning, sometimes it's necessary to change the zone rules to shift as the people in those zones learn and grow. Like in the past, the voting zone in the United States didn't allow women or people of color the right to vote in elections. But many U.S. citizens began to realize that those zone rules and many others were not fair, so they worked hard to think outside the zone rules to create new ones. Now in America, all citizens have the right to vote. Also, in the past, we didn't have cars and planes or phones and computers. People thought the Wright brothers were crazy trying to get man to fly, but if it wasn't for them, we never would have flown to the moon, let alone different places in the world. Same goes for medicine. It took lots of brave people to experiment with science to get treatments for cancer, heart disease, and prevent illnesses like measles and mumps. To do this, it sometimes requires people to think outside the zone rules we have in place to find new ways to make the zone better for all. The same goes for things happening in today's world. There are lots of people working to make this world a better place by making sure everyone has equal rights and opportunities. It takes many people to make that happen. Maybe someday that will include you too. Okay, so now I want you to get doing and take a few minutes to discuss what the different zones look like at your school and how those zone rules and what's expected changes within each zone. For example, in the hallway zone, it's probably expected that you walk quietly in line, keeping your hands to yourself. That's different than the gym zone, where you might be running around making more noise. Take some time now to talk about the different zones in your school and what's expected in each of them. Teachers, download the worksheet below to guide you with this activity. Okay, my peeps, let's get doing, and I'll see you in the next lesson.